All right, let's talk Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks have quietly made a massive move. There's been some speculation around Seattle heading in a bunch of different directions this offseason. Well, we think we've seen the first domino fall for Seattle. Exciting update for the Seahawks. But first, I'm Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, coming into the offseason, everyone knows the Seahawks have talent. They're a good football team, but they have salary cap issues and they do have some holes they need to fill. So the first step, of course, is salary cap relief and then potentially going out making those big moves. And like I said in the opening, the first domino has fallen. Let's go into the article first. This quick excerpt from Field Goals. Great website name, by the way. The Seattle Seahawks have restructured the contract of defensive lineman Leonard Williams, opening up just over $18 million in cap space. As part of the restructured contract, the Seahawks converted $18.745 million of Williams' salary to a bonus and added 2 void years to the contract. The move dropped Williams' salary cap from $29.1 million to $14.06 million. All right, so what does this mean? It means that basically Leonard Williams got a big old fat check, right? Basically, he had a salary, yearly salary, game checks converted into a one-time check that he got today, allowed the Seattle Seahawks by adding 2 void years to the deal to spread that money out and open up some cap space. But here's the interesting part. Normally, when teams open up cap space, it usually means they're doing so to create a monster move, to give them the assets, to give them the dollars to go out and sign or trade for more players. But even after this move, the Seattle Seahawks, according to overthecap.com, are $13.5 million outside their over the cap, right? They need to get under the cap. And they don't have a lot of options just when it comes to restructuring. If you pull up this plot here, it just shows the dollars available that the Seahawks could get by restructuring some contracts. So the $12 million number, that's Metcalf. You got $10 million Draymond Jones, and that $6.5 million is Nuosu. Now, it's important to remember if you restructure contracts, that's basically trading short-term gain for long-term pain. So you don't want to make a living out of doing it. So even if the Seahawks restructure all three of these guys, these are the three high dollar ones left, you're looking at about, we'll call it $27 million in cap space, right? Created, so they have $14 million in cap space. That's it to go make a move. That's not a lot, right? That's enough to sign a starter, but are you going to mortgage your future by doing four big restructures just to sign one starter? That doesn't make sense to me. Now let's go look at this next here, showing the salary cap and the cap savings that could happen via trade. Suddenly you start seeing some big numbers, right? Instead of seeing, those 8, 9 millions, now we're seeing some really big dollars. You're seeing 10, 17 for Tyler Lockett. That is interesting. And then you see 11 and a half for Draymond Jones, right? So here you have an opportunity to trade some of these guys. We know DK Metcalf's been linked. I think Tyler Lockett's an interesting name. You could open up more cap space, get some draft picks, and then go all in for a big acquisition. I think this first move by Leonard Williams, look, if you're a very wealthy owner, if you're a general manager, you don't give a guy an $18 million check overnight and say, well, we just did that to make him happy. The Seahawks are setting something up. Restructuring other guys clearly isn't going to do it in terms of cap space. I think they're setting up trades, maybe releases, but I think trades to get some draft picks, open up more cap space, and then go after something big. There's Myles Garrett floating around. There's some other names floating around. We'll have to wait and see how it all shakes out. But the Seahawks, I think, very clearly are planning something huge. Look, Miles, I know I've just rambled for a long time. I know you've got a few thoughts on this, but first, Seahawks fans, what do you think Seattle's going to do this offseason? Do you think they're gearing up for something big? I think so, but maybe you disagree. Let us know what you think the Seahawks are planning to do in the comment section below. But Miles, enough of me talking. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, Nick, I think that this is all really interesting when it comes to the Seahawks and what they could potentially do. I like the idea, like you said, there are some assets on this team. The trade rumors for the Seahawks have already started early, specifically with DK Metcalf. We've heard about them trading a couple different players, so I don't think anything like that is off the table. I think it's showing that they're all in on Jackson Smith and Jigba, especially in the wide receiver room. So, like you said, Lockett, another good name. I think if they get the capital to bring in some young wide receivers here, and Jigba could be the guy to lead this room going forward. I've also heard rumors about them potentially trading a guy like Kenneth Walker. Is he gone from the team? Is he, a guy that they want to keep long term? Very interesting option there as well. But I think what you said, that's the key here, is this is a team that's doing something. There's something going on. All of these moves, the restructuring, like you said, short-term gain for long-term pain. You're not going to do that just to be like, okay, that was fun. Let's just sit here and just go through the rest of the season. Like, There's something behind it. There's a motive. They're going to trade some players. They're going to make some more room, get something in the works to make some sort of big move. Not exactly sure what it is because this is very early on in the process. But I do agree with you. All of the numbers, all of these moves point to one thing in particular. Seattle Seahawks are going to do something exciting this offseason. And if I was a Seahawks fan, I'd be really, really interested in what they're about to pull off.
And the real big thing lurking out there for everyone, right? I didn't really talk about it, is Geno Smith being traded, right? That's something that is hanging out in space. That's $31 million of cap space. Just trading Geno Smith alone, you'd get a lot of capital, and your salary cap would go from 13 million over to about 13 million over to about 18 million over, right? That's enough to sign a starter, a backup, and then whatever assets you get for Geno Smith. That may be enough to float as a big time deal. I know there's teams, the Cleveland Browns. Could you see a Geno Smith Garrett, Geno Smith in a third round pick and Kenneth Walker for Garrett? I could see something like that happening, right? Now, obviously, there are a lot of questions to work out in the details, but I think it's undeniably so. When you look at the numbers and look at the first move here, the first domino to fall, Leonard Williams getting his contract restructured, it's very obvious Seattle Seahawks have signaled something big is coming.